Hello guys, today we'll see how to create a pet in Scratch and in terms of moving your pet, that is animating it, feeding your pet, keeping track of the time, changing the scenes, etc. So we'll see how to do all that today. So before we get started, I'm going to delete the existing cat sprite and we're going to choose our pet for today. So I'm going to go to animals and today our pet is going to be chick. But before I add the chick, I'm going to do a small kind of story that the chick comes out of the egg. So I've chosen the hatchling and I'm going to the costumes and I'm going to add the costume of the chick for it. So we'll scroll down and we'll add all the chick. So make sure to add all the chick in the sequential way so that I'm adding chick A first, chick B, and the third one is chick C. So we'll have all our costumes done. So our costume is in the sequential order with A, B, C. So it looks like it is actually coming out of the egg. So we'll have it this way. So I'm going to go to the code and before that we'll add a backdrop which looks natural for the pet. So we'll just add a tree. So it looks like it's there. So yes, we'll get started off with the code. So we'll get started with whenever the green flag is clicked, we'll always switch the costume to the hatchling. So it looks like it is coming out of the egg. So whenever the green flag is clicked, so there goes the egg. So we'll make it look like the egg is having a small conversation with us. So I'm going to add a say block. So say, so we'll introduce our pet. So hello, I'm Cheeky. So I'm gonna name the pet Cheeky today. So hello, I'm Cheeky for 2 seconds. So we'll add a wait block after this, which is for 0.3 seconds, and we'll make it say like, I'm excited to meet you. Excited to meet you soon. Yes, so now this works perfectly fine. So hello, I'm Cheeky. I'm excited to meet you soon. Yes, so we'll make the chick come out of the egg but with the sound. So I'm gonna go to the sound block and add a sound. It looks like the egg is breaking and it's coming out of the egg. So here, so I've just added a finger snap and I'm gonna take start sound finger snap. And now I'm going to make it look like it is coming out of the egg. So I've added a start sound finger snap and next costume. So we'll see if it works. I'm excited to meet you soon. Yes, there it works. Very fine. Now it has to still come out perfectly. So we'll add one more wait block, which is for another 0.5 seconds. And we'll make it say like, there I go. There I go. And now we'll make it look like coming out with some other sound. So I'm just gonna add some whistle sound. So this is the sound. Yeah, so we'll make it look like it's flying out of it. So start sound, siren whistle, and I'm gonna add a next costume. Now it comes out of it and we'll add the last wait block and add the next costume to make it look like the chick has finally come out. We'll do that. So we'll check now whether it works. Hello, I'm Cheeky. I'm excited to meet you soon. There I go. Yes, this works perfectly fine. So here we have introduced our pet, which is Cheeky, and it is beautifully coming out of its egg. Now we'll make our pet move around the screen. Okay, to do that, so we'll go to events, and whenever the sprite is clicked, we'll make the chick move around. So obviously we're gonna go to the motion and add a move block. So the chick moves perfectly fine. but we look like it's moving with some costume. So I'm gonna add a switch costume too, and we'll make it look like it's moving along with its peak. So move 10 steps. Yes, so the chick moves, but it has to move for like a number of times. So I'm gonna take a repeat block and make it 5 times, and yep, whenever I click it moves. But yeah, we'll add a sound. So we already have a chirp sound, and I'm gonna go to sound and start sound whenever the sprite is clicked and change the sound to chirp. So yes, whenever it's clicked it moves, but it moves totally out of the screen. So we'll just make him bring back to the screen here. So I'm gonna add a wait block for about say 0.5 seconds and make it go to some random position. So we'll see if this works. Yes, this works. So it moves and it goes to some random position. Yes, so now this works perfectly fine. Now we'll feed our pet. For that we'll take a sprite which is more of a food. So I'm just gonna take a ball. Yes, and we'll add a costume to it. So here I'm just gonna duplicate this and change it to ball B, and we'll draw something. So I'm just gonna add the food grains, like the grains per se, and I'll just change the outline to white so that it kind of looks like grains. Yes, so you can just add the food particles over here so that it looks like some grains for the chick. So hope this looks fine. So yeah, so we'll bring it back here and place it in a position now. So it's time to feed our pet. Before that we'll go to the hatchling and we'll set a timer. So we'll feed the pet in some interval of time. For that I'm going to create a variable called timer, and I'm going to click on OK. So we'll make the timer work. So whenever the green flag is clicked, we'll make the timer start. So I'm clicking on the green flag, and then I'm going to go to the variables and change timer by 1. Yes, so whenever the green flag is clicked, it changes the timer by 1, but it has to happen in a continuous flow. So we'll put a forever block and check. Well, it is very big, but we'll make it go like a second by second. So I'm just gonna add, okay, to fix this we'll add a set timer to 0 so that it's easy for us to do. So whenever the green flag is clicked, yes, the timer now works perfectly fine. Yes, so it is going on 6 and 7 now. So we'll now check how to feed the pet. Okay, so now we'll come to events and we have a block called when loudness is greater than 10. So we'll click on the drop down and change it to timer. So when the timer is greater than 10, we'll feed the pet. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, now when the timer is greater than 10, we'll broadcast a message called hungry. So I'm gonna add a new message which says hungry. So whenever the time is greater than 10, it broadcasts a message hungry. But what happens when I receive hungry? So when I receive hungry, so there is a food ball and our pet, which is chick, has to go here and eat the food. So we'll do that. So I'm gonna click on motion. So the pet has to smoothly go here and eat the food. So I've just moved the position and I'm gonna take the glide block and put it here. So when I receive hungry, it just glides here to this position and we'll make it look like it's actually eating. So there is a bent costume. So I'm going to switch costume to C. And we'll add a sound. so that it looks like it is actually eating the food. So we'll add a pop sound and come back to sounds and start sound pop. Hope this works. So we'll check. But yeah, since the timer is greater than 10, it kind of worked. So I'll click on it one more time. Yes, this works. But it stays here. It is eating forever. So it has to eat for some time and it has to move back. So we'll do that. So I'm going to add a wait block. Maybe it eats for like 2 seconds and then it goes to some position maybe. Oops. Okay, I'm going to stop it. So, okay, it is coming back to this position after it eats. So I've kept it here and x is 130 minus 158. So go to this position after it eats and we'll make it look like it's not bent. So I'm just going to check it out. So it eats and it comes back, but it's still bent. So we'll add a switch costume to chick A so that it is not bent. So that works perfectly fine. So whenever it goes, it eats for 2 seconds and comes back. Yes, but this, it has to be hungry continuously, right? Maybe like after with the gap, it has to be hungry. So we'll do that. But it's only hungry for one time. So how do we make it like it's hungry for like every 10 seconds? We'll do that. So to do that, we'll add a forever block and check what happens. So I'm going to click on hungry, but nothing is being executed because I've added a forever block and this instance is getting executed continuously without any gap, so that we are unable to see the broadcast message happening because it's very continuous. So I'm going to add a wait block here and make it for 10 seconds so that for every 10 seconds our bird eats something and it's, it fills his tummy. So that's how it works. So yes, so it goes back and eats. Yes. Now we'll go to the ball and we'll add a few blocks. So now what happens when I receive hungry? So we have added a few costume, right? So when I receive hungry, so it has to switch costume to the ball with grain. So switch costume to ball B, and when it eats and goes back, we'll make it look like the ball is empty. So we'll add a wait block maybe for like 3 seconds and we'll make it switch costume to ball A after 3 seconds. But since we have added the switch costume, we have to add one important point, which is whenever the green flag is clicked, the ball should be empty. So only when it receives hungry, the ball should be filled. So I'm going to change it to a green flag clicked, switch costume to empty. Yep, now it's done. So we'll come back to the hatchling. See, it eats and the ball is empty when it goes back. Now, yes, so we have our pet. It beautifully came out of its egg and we know how to move our pet. So it moves beautifully like this and it is hungry and it eats. Now, we'll add a last point, which is making our pet go back to its home. Now, we'll do that. So when the loudness is 10, maybe I'm going to change it to timer and I'm going to click on stop and check it. So whenever the timer is greater than 35, maybe you can add any sort of thing, like any number. So whenever the number is greater than 35, it will go back to its home. So we'll make it say like it's time to go home. It's time to go home. Yep. Yes, it's time to go home. And we'll switch the costume to its home. Before that, backdrop to its home, sorry. We'll have to add a backdrop, which is its home. So it's a farm. Yes, so we'll make it this as its home. So when the timer is greater than 35, it says it's time to go to home, and it has to switch backdrop to home, which is its farm, and it has to wait for 1 second and then it has to go to it's dead, like more like inside its home. So it has to go to this position. So I'm just gonna add go to, and once it has reached its place, we'll stop everything. So there it goes, stop all. Now, since we have introduced a switch backdrop and switch costume, so whenever the green flag is clicked, so the backdrop has to be tree, and we'll make it look like the chick is in particular position. So yes, so it is in a particular position, the backdrop is changed and everything looks fine. So we'll check whether it works perfectly fine now. So when the green flag is clicked, hello Chicky, I'm excited to meet you soon. Yes, it breaks. Now, yes, we have animated our pet and it's moving fine. We'll check whether it is eating its fur. Yes, it comes back, eats, and it goes back. This works fine. And when the timer is greater than 33:35, it's time and it goes back. Yes, now this works perfectly fine. Yes, now we have successfully created our pet using Scratch. So hope you can also add your thoughts to it, and thank you guys. See you in the next video. Thank you.